James Wiseman has had a journey filled with highs and lows, from dominating high school courts to facing tough challenges in the NBA. His path has been anything but straightforward, but how bad is James Wiseman really? Let's find out. James Wiseman, known as the Nashville Giant, was not your typical kid. By the time he was in 8th grade, he already stood at 6'8", a whole head taller than his classmates. He played basketball against adults, then would go home to work out, doing push-ups and calf raises right in his own driveway. Moving on to his high school years, Wiseman didn't rest on his laurels. As a freshman at Ensworth, a school with a strong basketball program, he averaged 10 points per game. Not bad, huh? But James wasn't satisfied with just being good. He wanted more. By his sophomore year, he had grown an inch and his game had skyrocketed. Now he was scoring 20 points and grabbing 10 rebounds per game. That's what you call a leap in performance. Now let's talk about a big change in his life. Wiseman transferred to Memphis East High School, where he got a chance to be coached by Tennessee legend Penny Hardaway. This was no small deal. He went from a smaller scale basketball environment to a school that was ranked 4th nationwide. Under Hardaway, Wiseman's game transformed. He wasn't just a big guy anymore. He developed skills that made him versatile on the court. He started shooting jump shots and facing up to the basket. But the high school story doesn't end there. Wiseman's efforts paid off big time. He averaged 26 points, 15 rebounds, and an astonishing 5.5 blocks per game. These aren't just good numbers, they are dominating statistics. He wasn't just another high school player, he was the top player in the country and clinched the 2019 Gatorade Player of the Year. However, things took a twist when he moved to college. Wiseman chose to stay close to home and play for Memphis, coached by none other than Penny Hardaway. But his college basketball journey hit a snag when it was discovered that Hardaway had given Wiseman's family $11,500 to help him move to Memphis. This fact, though, was well-intentioned and was a violation of NCAA rules. As a result, Wiseman faced a 12-game suspension. Instead of waiting it out, he made a significant decision to leave Memphis and get ready for the NBA draft. Fast forward to the NBA draft. Despite the rocky end to his college career, Wiseman's talent was undeniable. His physical attributes alone made him a tantalizing prospect. Enter the Golden State Warriors, a team in desperate need of a center to round out their otherwise stellar lineup. The Warriors, holding the 2nd overall pick, saw in Wiseman not just a stopgap solution, but a potential cornerstone for the future. His ability to run the floor, combined with his defensive prowess and budding offensive skills, seemed like a perfect fit. Draft night arrived, and with it, a new chapter for Wiseman. Selected 2nd overall by the Warriors, he was poised to join one of the most successful teams of the past decade. The expectations were high, but so was the potential for growth. In a system known for developing talent and a culture of winning, Wiseman had the opportunity to redefine his narrative. He started off strong, showing off that signature bounce and energy we all remembered. Inside the paint, he was a force to be reckoned with, finishing a whopping 80% of his shots close to the basket. And let's not forget, he wasn't just a one-trick pony. The guy showed promise from beyond the arc too, hitting 32% of his three-pointers. That's not too shabby for a big man, right? It hinted that maybe, just maybe, Wiseman could evolve into a versatile stretch 5, changing the game for centers. But here's where the plot thickens. Wiseman's season was abruptly cut short due to a torn meniscus. Just when we were starting to get a clear picture of what he could bring to the table, everything came to a screeching halt. Frustrating, isn't it? While his scoring and rebound were on point, the injury raised a big red flag and left everyone wondering, what now? Yet, the injury wasn't the only bump in the road. Despite his athletic prowess, Wiseman's on-court impact was, well, a mixed bag. With a -17 on-off differential, it wasn't clear that while he brought a lot to the table, he also had his fair share of rookie mistakes. His defense, for example, was a bit of a wild card. Yes, he could block shots, but his timing, not always on point. He had a tendency to collect fouls like they were going out of style, which, let's face it, isn't exactly ideal. And his second jump, not as quick as you'd hope for a guy with his athleticism. Now let's talk defense. The Warriors love to switch, moving fluidly from one player to the next, a strategy that relies on quick feet and quicker thinking. Wiseman, however, seemed to always be a step behind. Literally, his footwork was more of a waltz than hip-hop, not really keeping up with a fast-paced NBA dance. This led to more fouls, more frustration, and more time on the bench. Switching gears to offense, Wiseman faced similar challenges. The Warriors' game is all about movement, passing, and fluidity, but Wiseman sometimes looked like he was playing a different sport. His basketball IQ, while not lacking in potential, definitely needed some fine-tuning. He was like the new kid in class trying to catch up on lessons that everyone else already seemed to understand. His assist-to-turnover ratio was less than stellar, and those post touches often ended in turnovers. In a team that thrives on ball movement, Wiseman's struggles were like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, and his pick-and-roll game, let's just say it needed some work. For a team that's all about dynamic plays and sharp passes, having a center who can't set a proper screen or catch the ball consistently is a bit like having a sports car with no gas. It looks good, but it's not going anywhere fast. After his injury, everyone expected a grand comeback, the kind where the hero triumphs against all odds. Instead, Wiseman found himself navigating the less glamorous world of the G League. But let's not scoff at that. The G League is no joke. It's a place where raw talent gets polished, where the determined forge their comebacks. And Wiseman, he was all in, putting up an impressive 19 points and 10.6 rebounds. Not too shabby. It seemed like he was getting ready to bounce back and ready to show the world he still had it. But the reality of professional sports can be harsh. When Wiseman returned to the Warriors, expectations were sky high. This was a team gunning for another NBA championship, not a spot for easing back into the groove. Wiseman's playing time got slashed to just a quarter a game. It was clear there was no room for error, no space for a player needing to find his rhythm. Imagine being in his gigantic shoes, knowing every second on the court had to be perfect. Despite the limited court time, Wiseman showed glimpses of a player everyone hoped he would be, with per 36-minute numbers that made statisticians double take. But basketball isn't just played on paper. Despite the promising stats, Wiseman's impact was, well, not what the Warriors needed. His presence on the court, unfortunately, translated to the team performing worse. A tough pill to swallow for any player. But what do you think lies ahead for this once coveted player? Can Wiseman turn his fortunes around? Or is this the end of the road? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of basketball.